The final game of the 2021 high school football season in the state of Florida is the 6A championship, and it features the Eagles from Pensacola's Pine Forest against the Jesuit Tigers from Tampa. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to DRV PNK Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Austin Lyon, Jeff Carlson, our entire Spectrum Sports crew on hand for the final game of the 2021 season. Jesuit undefeated, Pine Forest just one loss. Two outstanding teams ready to go at it in this championship game. Here's a look at how each of the teams got to this title game. Jesuit had no problem with Hillsborough and Miami Northwestern in the state semifinals. A lot of drama for Pine Forest in their state semifinal. They played Jones from Orlando. The game went to overtime. Pine Forest ultimately gets an interception and prevails 20-13. Jesuit is the headliner coming to this one, Jeff. 10th ranked team in the country. Talent all over the field on offense. We're spotlighting running back Joquez Smith.
Yeah, I went live to the Northwestern game and did not know really what Smith did, but he's special. In 1,800 yards, really barely catches the ball out of the backfield. Almost all of his yards are on the ground, but he's special on the ground. Hard to take down, super fast. He's a special back, and Pine Forest is going to have their hands full.
And on defense, they've got a Clemson signee in the secondary in safety Wade Woodaz.
Big and rangy. I'm not sure how much Pine Forest is going to need to put the ball up in the air. Not afraid to come downhill and make tackles. But you see he's got 2 interceptions on the year as well. But when you got the Clemson attention and you're going to Clemson, you must be pretty darn good.
Pine Forest, a team that runs a split back veer option type offense, and it's an offense that's going to be without their leading rusher tonight. That's Kobe Johnson, who was injured in the state semifinal win against Jones. That means there'll be more on the shoulders of their sophomore running back, Miguel Brock.
Yeah, a little bit more on everybody's back, I think, just because of that. But look, the guy's almost a 1,000-yard rusher on the season, but they just don't have numbers on their side just from a roster standpoint. So they're going to rely on most of their roster to be out there and try to stand up with a team that's played a very tough schedule, beat Aquinas, state champions last night, an amazing roster in and of itself. So Coach was very humble in what he was saying before the game, but he's got his hands full tonight.
It's Ronnie Douglas in his second season as the head coach of this program. Second chance for him to be a head coach. He was at Tate, another Panhandle school, for a couple of years, assistant at a number of other programs. And on the other sideline, it's Matt Thompson, formerly of the Marine Corps, 10 years as the defensive coordinator at Armwood, and now in his 9th season, he's finally got Jesuit into the state championship game after losing in the state semifinals the last 3 years. It's a program that's endured a lot of heartbreak and hasn't been able to reach this point. And you could tell on the field before the game, he was really soaking up the experience of being here on the biggest stage.
And he really should be. I mean, it's great. He gets great support from his fans at home, and they traveled here to do the same tonight. But it's a special place to be, and everybody should feel that same pride and getting the chance to play for a state title.
Nice crowd has made the trip from Tampa here to Fort Lauderdale to support the Jesuit Tigers. How about the journey for Pine Forest? 650 miles from their campus here to DRV PNK Stadium. Connor Wright has it teed up. Jesuit will have the ball first. Junior Vandeross and Jaydn Girard back deep to receive the kick. It's Vandeross, outstanding return man, and he gets it out to the 30-yard line. That's where Jesuit will begin with a sophomore at the controls of this offense. It's Luke Knight. Impressive numbers, Jeff. 73% completion rate. He's thrown for 27 touchdowns and just 5 picks.
Well, you watch him, and he's just a company man. He's just high energy, good leadership. He has to run to the sideline a lot. He just keeps it going. Really, really good leader for this football team.
Jesuit starts with a run, a toss to the perimeter, and Pine Forest right there. That is Deontrez McClam, a linebacker who made the play.
Tigers open up with a play that you actually don't see them do all that much. They really come downhill hard with Smith on a regular basis. Wanted to show him something different at the line of scrimmage on the first play, but Pine Forest is ready for it.
2nd down and 16. That's a pass to junior Vandeross, weaving his way through the defense, and Vandeross cuts it back. One man to beat. Vandeross out of bounds inside the 15.
What a great job just getting into the open field. Watch how they have him stopped. They have him completely stopped right here. Look at that whole band of Eagles sitting there. And he gets it back across the field. I think he might have tired out here at the end because I thought he was going to slow down and set up his blocks right here. And he ends up taking it out of bounds. But good start for Jesuit. Eagles had him dead to rights.
61-yard run by Vandeross. And here's the bigger back, Joquez Smith, as we show you the Jesuit offense. Backs and receivers. Smith with more than 3,500 yards rushing in his career. Girard has more than 2,000 yards receiving. Vandeross signed earlier this week with Toledo. And on the offensive line, 4 seniors. Traquan Alexander is a team captain. He signed with Rhode Island. And Guzzy Okiki, great prospect at right tackle, nearly 300 pounds. Right back to Smith, untouched, and in for a Jesuit touchdown. Just 4 plays, and Jesuit finds the end zone.
I was caught off guard by the 2 sweeps to start the game. But this is vintage Jesuit Tiger football in 2021. Give the ball to Smith, number 24, and he finds the end zone frequently.
53rd touchdown of Joquez Smith's career. And the PAT from Jack Ferrari is good.
You just talked about career TDs. He's over 3,500 yards. In his career, he's only a junior. Look at the blocking inside, untouched into the end zone. They're not super huge inside. 230, 246, 260. We've seen a lot bigger offensive lines this weekend in the state championships. But one of the things that is a hallmark for Jesuit is the great offensive line play. Great coaching here. And Smith is the beneficiary.
4 plays, 70 yards. And it takes just more than a minute and a half for Jesuit to break on top. The 10th ranked team in the country. Undefeated, as Jeff mentioned, with a win over 7A state champion St. Thomas Aquinas. And by most accounts, their better unit is on defense. Left-footed Ferrari ready to tee it up. An awkward-looking kickoff, and it goes out of bounds at the 10. So no chance for a return for Donnell Hayes. And Pine Forest will send their offense out with solid field position. Tierra Wilson, first-year starter, junior quarterback. He's rushed for 100 or more yards in 3 of the 4 playoff games. He only did that once in the regular season. Guy who's a capable thrower, but also can run it.
Yeah, he's definitely a capable thrower. He really rips it around the field.
Kick out of bounds by the kicking team. Ball will be placed on the 35-yard line and 1st and 10.
But he is very well built, and it looks to really pound the ball up in there as they do option out of shotgun. We really haven't seen this style of option.
Wilson gives it straight ahead. That's Gavin Grice, who is playing in place of Kobe Johnson. Grice coming back from a knee injury. He had 99 carries as a junior. He's close to where he was a year ago. 15 touchdowns for Brock. Danielle Hayes is the primary receiving threat. And up front, it's 3 seniors. And junior Tyson Nettles and sophomore Jonathan Daniels at 6'5", 290 pounds. He is a promising prospect on this offensive line. Wilson wants to put it up, and out in the flat it is dropped. Tavion Butler was the target. Here's the Jesuit defense. Peter Pazanski, an outstanding sophomore defensive end. He was a MaxPreps All-American as a freshman. A.J. Cottrell's got more than 500 tackles in his career. Troy Bowles rated as the second best junior linebacker in the country. He's the son of Bucs defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. And in the secondary, Caleb Williams, 6 interceptions this year. He signed with Furman. And the other safety, Woodaz, as we showed you in the open, headed to Clemson. Wilson flips it long down the field for Hayes. Overthrown with good coverage from Andre Gilbert.
Well, hopefully Pine Forest just got the nerves out, got the shake off the rattles. They dropped the first pass that was accurate, give up a touchdown in only 4 plays. They need to settle down and get into this game now. They got in late. We were talking to Coach, and they got in late, 12:30 or so last night off the buses. He didn't want to make any big deal about that, but that's pretty late for high school kids. You know, they saw some of the games that we've already done, but they've got to play some defense now.
Connor Wright's punt, not particularly deep. Vandeross comes up and takes it on the hop. 6 career return touchdowns for Vandeross. Wanted to make it 7, but he couldn't quite stay in bounds. They'll mark him out at the 21.
What a fantastic heads-up football play. He sees the bounce, it comes up clean, and you just see that acceleration. Catch it right there at waist level. Perfectly done. Great job, Mr. Vandeross. My son went to middle school and played sports with him in middle school.
He can say that he knew him one day when Vandeross becomes famous.
Sure. Something like that. Great playing so far. He's got 2 great plays.
63-yard run on the last drive. That's a pass forward to Jaydn Girard. Well played by Pine Forest. McClam and Lamartez Odoms on the tackle. Odoms was the hero for Pine Forest in the state semifinals. He had the interception in overtime that helped secure their win against Jones.
Soften them up with the sweeps. Throw it out quick here.
Girard wide open on the perimeter. A flag down. May get Jesuit for a hold.
Yeah,
it's Carter French out on the perimeter that was blocking.
Yes, it was, and it happened so fast. I didn't think they were going to call a holding. Girard got out there, caught the ball. It's very efficient. Luke Knight out there, and they're thinking about it, or at least talking about it for a while.
Larry Wages is the referee, leading our Central Florida Officials Association crew. This crew based out of Orlando.
Holding. On the offense, that's 10 yards from the spot of the foul. We replayed it down.
The home crowd doesn't like it. Interesting that Jesuit came out with the game plan to start with that sweep, get the defense going sideline to sideline, and then come back up with that run game.
That one lofted into the end zone and well out of the reach of French.
Yeah, no chance. I'm not sure actually what he was looking for. I think it was Jarrett Bowie out there, number 8. But I'm not sure what he really wanted. They motioned Smith into the slot, and Luke Knight was throwing it to that corner no matter what happened.
Yeah, beg your pardon. It was 8 Bowie that was the target. 3rd down and 17. Knight surveys and throws a pick. Intercepted by Tyrese Thomas. And he returns it into Jesuit territory. 3rd pick of the year for Tyrese Thomas. Guy who's still learning how to play corner, primarily an offensive player in the past.
Luke Knight just confused on the last two plays, really. The throwaway on first down, or whatever down it was, and then that one was to nobody. Vandeross comes out in motion. He's wide open. Throw it to him. He throws inside, and I guess he thought he was going to curl instead of slant, but at least it gives the Eagles a chance to breathe and to actually restart their offense.
Sideline warning against Pine Forest. That is their first one of the game.
I mean, that was way off. Even if he thought he was running a curl route, it was just so far behind him.
Exactly what this Eagles team needed.
Thomas didn't have to move at all.
Sixth pick of the year thrown by Luke Knight. And the Eagles set up shop at the Jesuit 46. Wilson going to keep it. Cuts it upfield with a first down and more, dragging Wayne Quinn down inside the 30. That's a 17-yard run for the Eagles quarterback.
This is where they're going to be successful, if they're going to be successful. If Wilson can hold on to the fake long enough before the front four of Jesuit can get to him, and he can pull it out late and race down the field, then they have a chance. Outside of that, it's going to be a tough way to go. Jesuit's got a great front seven, tackling linebackers. No great sacking standouts up front, but they just do a good, solid job.
Hard for Jesuit to get Wilson on the ground, still driving forward. It'll be another first down. 215-pound junior quarterback, and when you and I were down on the field, he has got an impressive-looking frame.
He sure does, yeah. I mean, he's built for this, and he does have a great arm. He's got great arm strength, so if they do the same exact thing, fake it into the line, hold, make those good linebackers step up to tackle and try to throw behind it, they could find some success there as well.
Handoff, ball's fumbled. And Pine Forest got it back. It was Miguel Brock able to recover his own fumble. Wayne Quinn with the ball there at the bottom of the pile.
That is always the risk, Austin, when you have the option. Am I going to leave it in there, let him continue to run, or try to pull it out? And sometimes the running back gets confused, and he thinks you're giving him the ball, so he's got to take it. And the quarterback tries to pull it out, and it ends up on the ground. Good job getting back on top of it.
Pine Forest trying to pay off the interception by Thomas. Wilson throws complete to the outside. And another first down, catch and run. That's Donnell Hayes. Hayes with a lot of speed at wide receiver. He blocked the point after in that state semifinal against Jones. Jones had a chance to win it with a PAT. Tigers missed, but committed a personal foul, and then Hayes blocked the ensuing kick. Wilson keeps it, and again, yards through contact, a significant amount of contact for TJ Wilson.
Well, it looks good early on, but what happens is you find, okay, that's our success, right? And this guy, look, he wants to run it again. That's what that signal he just made to the sideline. Call it again. Give me another shot. But you also got to realize he cannot do that the entire game. You just wear out.
Wilson keeping it himself, and he is in for a Pine Forest touchdown.
The turnover gave them life, and they showed you why that offense is hard to stop, why they're here in the championship game. That big, strong quarterback, and remember, they don't even have their their leading rusher, number 4, Johnson. He's not in there right now, but when that big guy puts the ball into the running back's stomach, you got to tackle him, but then you got this big old running back behind him called the quarterback.
So we're tied at 7, and you might see TJ Wilson holding up a portrait there. You saw the same thing from Tyrese Thomas after the interception. We'll talk about that after the replays of the touchdown.
That was a straight run to Wilson.
Throughout the season, Pine Forest has been playing with a ton of emotion. That's because their starting quarterback a year ago, Ladarius Clardy, who is the all-time leading passer in program history, was shot and killed in July. It was a shock to the entire Pensacola community, the Pine Forest family. And so these players dedicated this season to Ladarius's memory. They've been thinking a lot about him, playing for him. His name is on the back of all their warm-up jerseys. There's the portrait. And on the back of that Pine Forest shirt is their number 2, his number from a year ago. So it's been heavy hearts, but certainly driven by trying to honor his memory throughout the season.
Well, obviously being here on this field today is honoring him. And great to see them doing that. Jaydn Girard and Vandeross 7-7. Jesuit had their way for a few minutes, and here we are now, tied right back up. Jesuit opening with a lot of wide plays as opposed to coming downhill like they usually do.
Vandeross from the 15 with a flag down. He is taken down at the 27. This is likely to cost Jesuits some yardage. Playoff history of these respective teams. Pine Forest, great success in the 80s. Back-to-back titles in 87 and 88. They won it again in 2000. Triple overtime win against St. Thomas Aquinas. And Jesuits' lone title way back in 1968. But again, a program that has been on the verge. Jeff, you think about what they've done, lost in the state semifinals to American Heritage, close, lost to Northwestern, lost to Cardinal Gibbons. They've been close to breaking through, and then finally this season, that resounding win over Miami Northwestern.
Return. Holding on the return team. That'll be 10 yards from the end of the run and first down.
Yeah, you know, they ultimately ran Northwestern off the field. I was there just watching it, and for me, they just really did a good job.
And there are some of the members of that 1968 team that have come together. I'm sure great to talk about the old days and share the memories, especially as Jesuit goes on their own postseason run. Penalty moved the ball back to the 16. Joquez Smith starts the drive with a 6-yard run. Knight going to keep it. Driven to the turf by Tylen Nettles. Here's a look at the Pine Forest defense. These three up front are pretty stout, especially Rasheed Lovelace. He might be the best player in the entire Pensacola area, more than 100 tackles. Deontrez McClam is the team's leading tackler. And in the secondary, you've already heard from Tyrese Thomas. Cameron Kelly, a promising player on the perimeter. He's got 4 picks this year. Third down and short, Joquez Smith will move the chains.
The key to running that 3-4 really is that nose guard. You just mentioned Lovelace. He's 6'3", 310. But if you want to run a 3-4, you got to have that, just that anchor in the middle of the line, and he is that guy because everything starts from there. Right around over the center or in either gap.
See 25 tackles for loss. And there's Lovelace wrapping up Smith for no gain and maybe even a loss.
And they're going to have to double team him all night long. That we were just speaking of him, and he gets to the left side of the center and stops that pretty much. I mean, there was other guys, but he was the one that got there and pushed that whole line backwards.
Smith again running straight ahead and finding no room. Harris and Lovelace right there, and Jesuit will face 3rd and long.
I think that's Elijah Douglas. He got his no, it's not. It's McClam got his helmet knocked off. He's complaining to the ref for a long period of time. That got hit off of my head. That is one big linebacker.
Yeah, McClam listed at 225, and he's every pound of it. Knight on the rollout, bobbled and dropped along the sideline by Bowie.
Accurate throw, just missed. We've seen some questionable heights and weights over the last 3 days. But nice ball on the sideline. Should have been a 1st down.
The Jesuit goes 3 and out after the Pine Forest touchdown. Junior Vandeross is the punter. And it's a pretty good kick. We'll go out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Pine Forest, as I mentioned, 650 miles from their campus in Pensacola to make it down here to DRV PNK Stadium. Enrollment of almost 1,800. And the school is really tucked away in the corner of the Panhandle, close to Escambia Bay. It's only 10 miles from Pine Forest to the Alabama line. So this is about as far as any team can travel for a championship. Sharing some memories down on the field with Larry Bluestein, who's covered football in the state for a long time. He was with Miami Columbus doing radio when they played in Pensacola against Woodham. That was the longest trip to date, more than 700 miles for a team that made it to a state championship game in football. So it's a long journey.
Since you just told a yesteryear kind of story, I'm going to jump in here because when I was in college, we used to take long bus rides, 12 hours or so. And I lived in the days before, obviously, iPhones and all that kind of stuff. Actually, you actually had to read a book or look out the window for 12 hours. And while I was in college, they invented the VCR for the car. And we actually started counting the hours by how many movies the trip was. And that's a 3-movie trip. Now you just watch your phone for 12 hours. Where's the outlet? I just need a phone charger.
Wilson's pass intended for Lamont Green is incomplete. We asked Coach Douglas about the bus ride. They made several stops along the way. Had a walkthrough at Ocala Forest High School. And got great support from the community to be able to help pay for the trip, give these kids the special experience of playing on this stage. 3rd and 7 as Wilson slings it to the outside. And too far beyond the reach of Donnell Hayes. 4th down.
Good defensive stop. They got that turnover that gave them better field position. They were able to cash in and tie this ball game up. Here they defense for Jesuit gets them off the field quickly. Vandeross already a couple of big plays on the night. I can see him, if he gets another good bounce, making another big play.
Long return on the first punt. See how Connor Wright handles it this time. Another high kick, not particularly deep. Vandeross this time will let it hop, and it's down at the 30.
I think my heart stopped a beat. I thought he was going to try it
Looked
again.
like it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we showed you the Pine Forest school profile. Here's a look at Jesuit. Established in 1899. I've been playing football for almost 100 years. Jay Feely, outstanding NFL kicker. Lou Piniella, longtime MLB manager, and Lance McCullers Jr., who was not able to pitch, injured for the Astros in the World Series against the Braves. Now, you might be asking why there's such a disparity in enrollment. Jesuit is an all-boys school, so as a result, the FHSAA doubles their enrollment to determine their classification. That's why Pine Forest at 1,700 and Jesuit at 850 are in the same class.
And that is only fair, because Tampa Catholic is only 2 miles from Jesuit, both Catholic schools. They're always in different divisions because Tampa Catholic has the same amount of students, but half of them are boys and half of them are girls.
Loss of 1 on the run by Smith. A big play by Vandeross. Other than that, Pine Forest has done a good job against this Jesuit offense. They go back to Smith. Knocked down as he tried to split defenders. It was Raymond Moore and Lamartez Odoms.
Gives them a good 3rd and medium. They have a single safety. Looks like they're manned up across on the outside. Each receiver has one guy to beat. We'll see how much confidence they have in Luke Knight. Sorry about that. And they come out. Here we go. 4 wides. Safety's got to come over and play the guy at the top of the screen, the slot. Late to react.
A quick throw, and Bryson Goodwin had to go down to the ground to make the catch. No gain. And once again, Pine Forest defense up to the challenge.
We have seen a number of times where the teams come right down the field and score, and then they just settle into this thing that everybody gets stopped. The defenses start to settle in. You get rid of those nerves, and here we go. Now it's a punting war, field possession war. Vandeross got a nice ball to turn over last time. Good kick.
Yeah, this one even better. Tyrese Thomas from the 24 made a nice catch. Special teams tackle by Gilbert. Fastest kid on the team, a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder in the Jesuit secondary.
That was a very good catch because I thought it got over his head initially and was going to roll significantly if it did hit the ground. So he saved, I bet he saved 20 yards on a roll if that would have hit the ground.
TJ Wilson, 4 carries, 35 yards, and the touchdown on Pine Forest's last possession. Eagles back to work from their own 30 with just 26 seconds to go in the half. Wilson keeps it. Cottrell got a hold of him. What a career for A.J. Cottrell. More than 200 tackles last year and above 500 in his career.
Yeah, speaking of careers, Matt Thompson has had an amazing career. He was a defensive coordinator at Armwood for so long through their successful time frame. And they run a very similar defense. 3 down linemen, they're always going to have 3 down linemen, but you're always going to have a 4th rusher with a linebacker. It's a little bit of a different, unique look, but they've been so successful over the years. But you'll watch, instead of 4 men with their hand on the line of scrimmage, they bring a 4th guy as a stand-up, but he is always going to rush. But the offense has to account for that guy as a defensive lineman on every play. Been very successful with it over the years.
And one of the things Matt Thompson told us coming into this game is that he felt like they were going to be well equipped to be able to handle this Pine Forest offense because of his time at Armwood. He said, looking at the tape, it wasn't too dissimilar to what they used to run at Armwood, and so he was used to going up against it in practice every day.
Man, now I got to think about what they used to do at Armwood. We saw so many good running backs come through that program. They were kind of running back. You remember Matt Jones and Petey Smith, and there were some really good running backs that came through there. But I don't remember them running it quite the same way that Wilson is doing it as they were successful on their touchdown drive of him really holding on the ball for a long time, but we haven't seen him pull it out and run the normal option off of that, if you want to call it a veer type option. We haven't seen him run it that way yet. It's either give it to the up back going through or keep it so far.
The teams flip ends of the field. 12 minutes on the clock as we get set to start the second quarter. TJ Wilson, 100 or more rushing yards in 3 of the 4 postseason games for Pine Forest, and on pace to surpass it again tonight. He gives it, and Gavin Grice absorbs a couple of big shots on his way to a pickup of 1.
Well, we were talking about a 3-4 for Pine Forest, and just now talking about the defensive alignment. Same kind of concept in that 3-4. That allows those 2 inside linebackers to just come up hard, and that's exactly what happened just a minute ago. I believe that was Cottrell once again. You mentioned how many tackles he has in his career, over 500. They come up hard, fast, and hit extremely hard.
Ronnie Douglas spends a timeout.
Pine Forest.
Well, each of these teams has been dominant throughout the season. A combined record of 26-1. Pine Forest lost their opener. Since then, they've reeled off 12 straight wins. As you can see, the average margin of victory above 3 touchdowns. Jesuit winning their games by more than 30 points per game. And really, it's been a complete effort on both sides of the ball. The offense has been efficient. The defense has been dominant.
Yeah, that's just exactly what they do. That's what they expect. Have high expectations, a well-coached team. We talked about Venice this afternoon, and I kind of just see them as very similar programs, just really well coached. The kids come in, they know what their expectations are, and they live up to their coach's high expectations.
Really love the attitude of Ronnie Douglas coming into this game, talking to him throughout the week. And look, it's no secret that Jesuit is ranked in the top 10 in the country and they're undefeated. He said, look, we feel like we've got a good team and we're going to do what we do and we'll take our chances.
Well, it sure gives you a nice opportunity to give a good speech before the game playing against a number 10 team in the entire nation, that's for sure.
3rd and 5, and Wilson's right on the money to Donnell Hayes. Flag comes in at the end of the play after Hayes was down at the 47.
Let's see if there's a face mask. This was well after the play. Maybe that hit, but it looked like a hit with the shoulder. Oh, that drive. I think that shoulder drive at the very end. He's down on the ground, and watch Cottrell go down and then do that. That should be a penalty.
Yep, no question.
15 yards. Now, that is not what Jesuit normally does. Well-disciplined football team.
It was a 12-yard catch and run and about to add 15 to it.
After the play, personal foul on the defense. That's 15 yards from the end of the run and a first down.
That'll move the ball inside the Jesuit 40. And that is 4 penalties for 40 yards against the Tigers. Pine Forest is yet to be penalized. Wilson keeps it, crashes forward to the 35. Gain of 3. Wilson came in midway through the year last year due to an injury. Started all of the playoff games for Pine Forest. Obviously an odd year for everyone because of COVID. Pine Forest finished the year 4-5 overall, but they got to the region final. They won 2 regular season games and then won 2 in the playoffs before losing to Baker County 28-19.
When you see that offense and he comes out with the option, you got to play really good assignment football. Somebody's got to take the dive. Somebody has to take the quarterback. Wood has the pitch man. So far, so good. Wilson hasn't decided to pitch it yet. There you go again, right there.
Wilson knocked backward by Caleb Williams, one of the captains.
Not afraid to come downhill. Does a nice job against a bigger man. Caleb Williams listed at 181. Wilson listed at 215.
Third and 7 for Pine Forest with the ball at the Jesuit 35. Eagles have not attempted a field goal yet this season. Well, this is 2-down territory. Another ball from Wilson that's right on the money. This one dropped by Green.
Yeah, very accurate throw. They opened with a drop pass, another opportunity. Look, they're going to run the ball a lot, and when they choose to pass, they have to take advantage and drop the ball a couple of times. It's 4th and a full 7 yards.
Offense still out there. Eagles will go for it.
Yeah, I like the call. I know it's a long way, but it's hard to slay the giant if you don't take your shots. Usually I'm the very conservative guy that says punt the ball away, make the other team beat you. But 35-yard line, I like the call. Now you got to kick the ball away. I think they've got a timeout.
Timeout Jesuit as their first charge timeout of the half.
Matt Thompson and Daryl Palmer didn't like what they saw from that. This Jesuit team undefeated and ranked 10th in the country. They are the highest ranked team nationally from the state of Florida. And everyone else in the top 25 a state champion. St. Thomas in Class 7A, Central in Class 5A, and Chaminade Madonna last weekend in the smaller classifications. Chaminade Madonna actually got invited to play a game on ESPN as part of the high school bowl series. They were out in Vegas last night playing a team from Arizona. They won. So you figure they might have a chance to get a little bit higher before everything shakes out. And IMG Academy is not a participant in the FHSAA State Series.
I saw that Chaminade was going to go out and play. I can't imagine the emotional, just the emotional drop after you win the game. You're so high in the drop. And then the very next week, you tell the parents, you tell the kids, hey, we're going to go to play again in Vegas. And congratulations to them to be able to concentrate and go out there and play after winning a state championship.
Out of the timeout, here's 4th and 7. Wilson well protected. Down the middle and incomplete. A little bit too far for Delshawn Pogue.
Wilson showcased his arm strength. It's just well too far. Pretty throw in the air. Didn't give him much of a chance to make that catch.
So Jesuit holds on downs. And the Tigers take over at their own 35. Jesuits punted on their last 2 possessions.
I wonder how long it's been since they've said that. They do not punt a lot. Nobody's been able to stop them very well.
Knight hands off to Smith, who spun out of a tackle and drives his legs forward for a gain of 7.
That guy makes you do that in the second quarter, and by the fourth quarter, you don't even touch him, and he's just outside and gone.
And Matt Thompson raved about the strength in his lower body and said he's got an extra gear. When he hits the hole, he's faster than you think. Smith flexes out. Knight down the middle, a little bit high, and off the hands of Jaydn Girard.
Boy, we have just seen dropped passes tonight more than any game. When we first came onto this field, 3 things hit me. It's a flat field as opposed to a crown field like most football fields. Because it's a soccer stadium, it's very flat, the grass itself. The grass was absolutely perfect, and it's actually held up pretty well for the 5 games. But also the bank of lights, I thought we were going to see dropped passes. We had not seen that over the last 2 nights, but all of a sudden tonight we've seen multiple drop passes by both teams.
3rd and 3. Knight down the middle to a wide open Vandeross. They'll mark him out of bounds at the 38. A 20-yard catch and run for junior Vandeross. And a conversion on 3rd down for Jesuit.
And a real big pickup. We talked about them punting the last couple times. Pine Forest had done a good job stopping them. Very few teams have. Oh.
Knight nearly threw another pick. Vandeross was not looking. Right through the hands of Raymond Moore.
Raymond Moore wasn't expecting the ball to come straight to his hands either. But just saw it from the beginning. That was a misread by Vandeross, or at least not understanding that he was going to get that ball, not knowing it. Not sure he should have thrown that ball. Good reaction.
A great break from Moore, who misses the chance for his first pick of the year. Back on the ground to Smith. Ran right into Lovelace.
Yeah, Jesuit may say after the earlier interception and now that one, that, you know, honestly, if he got that clean, he had been in the other end zone. You say, hey, you know what we do? We run the ball well, and we're going to. But they do have 3rd and 8 coming up.
Lovelace lost a helmet, so he's got to leave the field. And Jonathan Daniels, who was on the bench with the offensive line, is summoned in to play nose guard.
Not as big of a deal, 3rd and 8. Jesuit likes to roll Knight out to the right. He can throw the crossing route very well. Here he is standing in the pocket. Not enough.
Vandeross with the catch. Got about 5 of the 8. And you would expect Jesuit to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, we just had a moment ago. Pine Forest had the same decision, except for it was 4th and 7? Here it is, 4th and 3. But yeah, you're right. They are going to go for it. Now, Pine Forest need to make sure they hold their water and don't jump off sides. This is that perfect time you try to get the cheap 5-yard penalty.
Knight going to try and run for it, and he'll have the 1st down. Banged down by Cameron Kelly. But a good, quick decision from Luke Knight, and he scrambles on 4th down.
J.C. Marisola didn't know he was going to get in the game this early. But his helmet pops off. He's got to take a one-play break. I would certainly expect Joe Smith to get a carry here.
And Marisola, just a freshman, hasn't thrown a pass in the playoffs. He hands off to Smith. What a move inside the 10. Smith finds the end zone for the 2nd time.
You see these jump cuts and patience. That's really good right here. That's good patience to wait and then re-accelerate into the end zone. Able to convert on 4th down, keep that drive alive.
Ferrari with the PAT. Joquez Smith, back-to-back games with 3 rushing touchdowns in the playoffs. Here's his 2nd so far tonight.
Look at that great hole up the middle. I mean, that was a, they say you could drive a truck through a hole like that, and Smith isn't as big as a truck, but that was a nice hole by his offensive line. Good couple of cuts, though, to get into the end zone. The career numbers on this kid are just outrageous. Only a junior, 190 pounds, but unbelievable numbers.
He went for 234 and
timeout.
3 scores in the state semifinal against Miami Northwestern. Miami Northwestern, a very proud program that doesn't give up numbers like that against anybody.
Yeah, honestly, I was on Northwestern sideline. I mean, it was a full stadium, and the stars were out, right? The Bruce Arians and Mike Evans and a whole bunch of Buccaneer-type people, and everybody else was out there. did I mention I was there as well? Besides that, they made Northwestern look like a really average football team. 37-12 or something like that. Now, Northwestern dropped a few passes here and there, but they made them look average, and Joe Smith just had a fabulous game. He looked like $10 million.
A Jesuit team that averages more than 38 points per game. Pine Forest not far behind at 37.2. These are the 5 highest scoring teams in the state. And we saw Venice and Aquinas win titles earlier this weekend. And given those numbers, you'd expect that we have not seen the last of these teams finding the end zone. Donnell Hayes backs up. He'll take it from the 3. Able to get around the near side. Hayes cuts it back. All the way for a Pine Forest touchdown, a 96-yard return, but there's a flag down way back at the 35.
It will come back, but for him to outrace and basically throw down a couple of Jesuit defenders around that corner, they had it so well defended. There were so many Jesuit Tigers in proper position to stop him. He comes up and turns this outside. But look at him. He just 1, 2, throws him around and then gets the corner.
And first down.
Actually, it looked like an unneeded block back there, well behind him. Wow. What a great run.
That's a tough break for Hayes. That block had no impact on his return.
Yeah, seriously. Now, hey, we were talking about the offense for Pine Forest. Now, there's a fourth component that they are going to have. Actually, they need to bring in the third component, but the fourth component is the pass. The fake the dive, fake the option route, come out of it and have the option and then back out of it and throw the ball, whether you want to call it a slant or a pop pass or a fake slant and go. But throw the ball off of the option action to try to pop a big play.
Wilson keeps and continues to drive forward. Well, anytime someone from Pine Forest runs, that pile is moving in the offensive direction.
Well, especially number 5. He was able to get that momentum hit, and it could have been pushed back, but it just got enough momentum to push him forward. Watch this initial hit. Looks like it's going to stop him right here, and then, it actually got help from behind from Jesuit. Gave him some extra yards.
Wilson lost his helmet, so each quarterback has had to leave the field for a play, and TJ's younger brother, Davion Wilson, is the backup quarterback. So he comes trotting on.
I used an old school chin strap that my helmet would never come off. It seems like we see helmets pop off all the time. I think it's these newfangled chin straps don't do as good of a job as the old bike BIKE helmets.
Well, Miguel Brock tries to cut it to the outside. Peter Pazanski stood him up and drove him backward. I beg your pardon, it's Wade Woodaz up from his safety position. These safeties for Jesuit love to come down and play in the box against the run, both Woodaz and Caleb Williams.
Well, as they run that option to the outside guy, the option man, Woodaz has done a good job already of keeping Wilson from pitching it, doing his job. You see him right there at the C in the middle of the field. His job's to come in and play the pitch man. Done a good job so far.
Wilson gonna run, and he stretches it out. He'll be just short of a first down. It's going to be 4th and less than 1. Chase Whitney lost his helmet.
See? I bet you he's got one of those new style chin straps.
And Pine Forest has their offense out there for 4th and short.
Yeah, 1 inch. I think your big quarterback's got to run it. I'd put him under center and just quarterback sneak it like Tom Brady does. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Get some push from your running backs. You used to not be able to push from behind, but now you can. Almost no way to stop that.
And no doubt, as Wilson surges forward.
Be careful about a 15-yard penalty.
Well, Pine Forest moves the sticks, and the clock will roll under 4.5 minutes to go here in the first half.
Other than some drop passes, this has been entertaining and a great competitive matchup. That kid's going to be tired tonight.
Palmer checks in at running back. It's Brock straight ahead. Yeah, wrapped up by Wayne Quinn.
That is going to be tough sledding against this front seven. With Charest and Cottrell, those inside linebackers, they really come hard. Pazanski, Omarion Clark, and Mikey Leonardo. Their job is to set their guy up and let those linebackers come in and make the tackles.
Thomas keeps. And Jesuit seems like they're starting to figure things out defensively. We're seeing more penetration, more contact right at the line of scrimmage.
So if everybody does their job, they stop that dive very well. I don't think that Pine Forest can really successfully run the dive in general. And if the safety comes up and plays that pitch man, number 5, although he looks like Superman, cannot beat the Jesuit defense by himself. He's either going to break down or get tired. One or the other. He just can't. You cannot ask the one man to do it. He is going to have to sling the ball in the air afterwards, and they're going to have to catch his passes.
Wilson,
he's been accurate so far.
At 2 of 8 passing for T.J. Wilson. Good clean pocket to throw from as they roll him out, complete to Lamont Green. And about 2 yards shy of a first.
Yep, 4th and 2.
Clock continues to roll, approaching 2 minutes to go in the first half.
I think they're going to go for it for the rest of the night. Basically 4th and less than 5 yards, give or take. They know they're playing the 10th rated team in the country. They've got to do a little something extra to beat this team.
They haven't broken the huddle yet, and the play clock's down to 5. And there's the timeout.
Yeah, they need to use it.
Ronnie Douglas all over it with an eye on the play clock.
Looked like Wilson had
timeout at a half.
maybe lost something off of his shoulder pads as well. He may need to get that back. Give him time to get it back anyway.
There's good football that's played up in the Panhandle, specifically in the Pensacola area. Pine Forest making their 3rd championship game appearance since the turn of the century. Pensacola Catholic, the runner-up when there was a 2B classification. Also seen Pensacola High and Escambia a couple of years ago. Escambia ran into a dominant Miami Central team. And tonight in that same 6A classification, Pine Forest runs into the 10th ranked team in the country. A couple of state championships back-to-back in the 80s. Jerry Pollard had an incredible run of success. 3 decades on the job with this Pine Forest program, and there's a great appreciation for Ronnie Douglas of the tradition that this program has. 4th down and 2 out of the timeout. Wilson running all the way, driving forward, and moving the chains. Another 4th down conversion for Pine Forest.
They brought in Gavin Grice in the backfield. Haven't seen him a lot of times in the backfield. We heard that he would be back there with Johnson out tonight, and he was the lead back, and that is what helped him pick that up. He squared up A.J. Cottrell and did a nice job against him.
Yeah, an excellent block. So now it's up to Pine Forest to try to pick up the pace if they want to try to get a score before halftime. 80 seconds to go, and the Eagles with one timeout remaining. Wilson well protected, lofting it up downfield and knocked away. Excellent play in the secondary by Hayes Greep.
It was a hitch and go. Greep didn't buy it. Didn't buy what he was selling. Does a great job getting back and covering this hitch and go deep down the field. Way to get his head turned around. Not look at that. That is textbook. You want to put videos on the internet about how to play defensive back? That's one of them right there. Nice job knocking that ball down.
Matt Thompson told us Greep has been attacked often by opposing teams, but has proven time and time again that he is up to the challenge. And as Jeff said, it was perfect right there. 2nd down and 10. Wilson on the run, nearly threw an interception. Wayne Quinn dropping off into coverage, couldn't squeeze it.
Just played zone there. We've been watching man-to-man. That was just a zone. They settled in. The underneath defender, as he tried to avoid the pressure. Linebacker right there in that curls and flat area. Steps back in and almost gets the pick. 3rd and 10, 1 minute left on the clock.
Pine Forest just 1 for 6 so far on 3rd down. One of the offensive linemen took down a defensive lineman. Wilson trying to stay behind the line of scrimmage. And they're going to rule that a catch to Donnell Hayes.
Well, Wilson does a heck of a job staying behind the line of scrimmage if he actually did. And then this is an NFL level throw as he turns his shoulders and ripped this ball to the sideline.
Oh, no question it was a catch, but there was a blatant holding call that was missed on the left side of the offensive line on that throw by Wilson. Well, 49 seconds and the ball inside the 30. To the near side, that's caught for a minimal gain. Pogue makes the catch. Again, 1 timeout for Pine Forest, and the clock continues to roll.
Well, before Wilson made that deep throw, I was saying they're all his receivers are just running away from him. Nobody's breaking off. Not a single route was broken off so that he could throw it, and he actually found it at the end after the scramble.
Wilson zips it to the outside. That looked like it hit off the face mask of Pogue. They're going right through his hands.
Yeah, it sure did. Went right through his hands. But this guy throws rifles, throws rockets. They haven't been able to handle about a handful of them so far. Look at that. And that's all the way across the field, too. That's from the far hash.
Third and 8 with 22 seconds to go. Wilson negotiates the high snap, waiting. Throws it up into the end zone, and it's caught. Hayes again for a Pine Forest touchdown.
Another amazing throw, rolling to his left. Great touch on the ball, all the way to the sideline. Now, I'll tell you, I thought I heard multiple whistles before this play even happened. But again, turning to his left or running to his left, puts this ball on the sideline. But I actually thought it was going to be offsides. I thought the flags were going to come out. I thought I heard whistles. I mean, maybe I was just completely in another world, but perfect throw. Here they are now. See those whistles, flags?
Maybe it was a premonition.
I don't know. I'd like to see it happen again. It just looked odd from the beginning of that play. But, man, that could be tied up here with 12 seconds left in the half.
And how about Hayes
Prior to snap, encroachment on the defense at half the distance to the goal and redo the try.
And Pine Forest is going to bring their offense out. Hayes, who had the long kickoff return negated by a penalty that really didn't affect the play, ends up making 2 incredible catches there, including the touchdown grab. And now after the penalty, Pine Forest will line up to go for 2 and try to take the lead.
Pretty amazing turn of events.
Jesuit crowds the box. Wilson running to his right, and he's in easily. Pine Forest has taken the lead with 12 seconds to go in the half.
Pine Forest had made a number of mistakes dropping the ball, so to be in the lead with the way it looked like it was starting to turn, the bigger plays have been made by Jesuit. But the throw on the sideline, I missed the holding call. You said it was a blatant hold. This is just a perfect throw. The big quarterback, hard to take down, makes 2 amazing throws moving to his left. Makes it pay off for his team. Great ball placement.
That's a dime.
Really,
that is an incredible throw.
I can't remember what game it was, but similar. It was actually Merritt Island. It was late in the game. It didn't matter as much, but he just threw the ball away from the defender all the way to the sideline to get him open, and it was a great throw. Very, very similar. This one even more impressive as it was farther distance.
It was Brady Denneberg, the Merritt Island quarterback.
Good call there, buddy.
Who, after the game, returned home and signed with Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Right after the game. That's handled by one of the Jesuit upmen, Drew Woodaz, younger brother of Wade.
Well, I think Denneberg has a incredible potential as a kicker. I'm not sure what he expects to do at Air Force, but congratulations to him and his entire family. Really, talk about a gutty performance yesterday was Denneberg. He was really getting beat up, and he gritted it out, really led his team, even though it wasn't a close contest.
I can't believe it was yesterday. It feels like it was a week ago now. 12 seconds to go. Matt Thompson's got the headset off. Luke Knight scrambling to his left. Throws on the run, complete. Junior Vandeross weaving his way around. He goes out of bounds.
Should have a second left on the clock.
No time on the clock right now, but I agree with you. It did look like he went out with a second to go.
I have seen many high school games do exactly this. There should be a second left on the clock, and then they just wave it off and call it halftime. Vandeross really should have run out of bounds, but he may have thought it was the last play regardless. He thought the clock was already run out, but I believe there was a full second left on that clock.
So the teams head to the locker room as we give you one more look with the clock burned in there. So here's Vandeross kind of running around, and he gets to the sideline with 2 seconds left.
Yep, it just turns to 1 right there after he's out. But I've seen exactly that happen many times. Referees just wave it off like it doesn't matter. And I'm thinking, that could be the difference between winning and losing. But it is what it is. We're at halftime.
Tight game as we close out the 2021 season. Looking like we're going to end with a good one. Pine Forest from Pensacola leading Jesuit 15-14 at the half. Jeff and I back in about 15 minutes for second half action. We welcome you back to DRV PNK Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Austin Lyon, Jeff Carlson, our entire Spectrum Sports crew here for the 6A championship game. And, Jeff, a surprising score at the half. Pine Forest has played really well, and they lead the 10th-ranked team in the country by 1.
Yeah, we'll say that a couple times, right? I mean, you think they're just unbeatable, and that's what I was talking about, being able to give that big speech beforehand about beating that number 10. Some good things happened for Pine Forest, and Jesuit was not able to ultimately stop him. Made a great throw Wilson has just played a tremendous half both on the ground and through the air. A couple of big throws on that last drive. And Jesuit had a turnover, almost a couple, and just haven't had their normal big-time running game going. So credit Pine Forest on the defensive front as well.
And the Eagles will have the ball first when the third quarter begins. Jesuit, one of 3 teams from Hillsborough County that made it to the state football championships this year. It's been silver medals so far for the teams from Hillsborough. Berkeley Prep in 3A, Tampa Bay Tech last night here in 7A. Just the third time ever that 3 Hillsborough County teams have advanced to the state finals. First time since 2010. And we haven't had a champion since 2011. That was Tampa Plant. So Matt Thompson and the Tigers trying to break through and end a decade-long streak of no championships for Hillsborough County. But they'll have to find an answer for TJ Wilson, who's rushed for a touchdown and thrown for a touchdown.
You know, I was warning about him wearing down. I don't think he is, at least at this point. I think he'll be able to be full strength at halftime, but it's hard to put everything on his shoulders. But so far, he's been able to handle it and handle it quite well.
Pine Forest winners of 12 straight. They started the season with a 21-14 loss to West Florida. And you know, when we talked earlier this week to Ronnie Douglas, he said, look, we were down 21-0 in that game. And there were a lot of people looking around saying, you know, I'm not sure if these guys really know what they're doing. We might need to reevaluate the way things are going. He was really proud of the way they battled back in that game, had a chance to come back and win it, ultimately lost by 7. But since then, they've reeled off 12 victories in a row. And I think sometimes it's easy to underestimate the confidence that a team has when they've won that many games, especially by big margins, a group that comes in and they expect to win regardless of the opponent.
Well, I actually think they're going to hit halftime or this third quarter with more confidence than they did starting this game. I think, hey, we really don't know what we can do, even though we've won our games and we're confident, but we don't really know what we can do against a team, the 10th team in the nation, number 10 team in the nation, and now they know they can play with them. So we're about to see the confidence on both sides. Who comes out here aggressively and plays their game? They got 24 minutes of football. Let's see what we got, but I'll tell you what, Austin, we couldn't have asked for anything more on Saturday night. You've called it our grand finale, and they're giving us a good show.
Well, it's been great so far. Hopefully we get 24 minutes just like we just saw. Jack Ferrari and 8 other Jesuit Tigers lined up really close to the ball at the 40 before they back up. Pine Forest has Joseph Garrett and Tyrese Thomas back deep, and not Donnell Hayes, who returned to kick for a touchdown. This is Tyrese Thomas. He gets to the 30 and lost the football.
The way he went to the ground, it looked like he did not have the football. He was kind of turned around and it went back first, but it looks like Pine Forest has the ball back.
Thomas was able to get back on it. That would have been a disastrous start for the Eagles.
See, as he gets spun back. Oh, yeah, it was gone way early. Oh. Jesuit.
Can't believe in that pile he got it back. Wow.
It really spushed. It like just flew out back to him. Dodged a bullet there.
And we do see Donnell Hayes coming out with the offense, so just to change up on the kickoff returns. Hayes, who had the great touchdown catch as time was winding down in the second half. Jesuit jumped offside after the touchdown on the PAT, so Pine Forest went for 2 and got it to take the 1-point lead.
Did they see anything in the first half that they didn't like and they want to change?
Wilson with a keeper. Straight ahead run, and it's a big one. delivers a shot to Caleb Williams and goes down at the 46-yard line.
Jesuit open, look at the line. There's a huge gap between the center and guard, and the linebacker's not able to step in and fill that A gap, and boy, oh boy, that was just huge. I'm not sure if they wanted to line up like that and expected the linebacker to fill it, but that's too much to ask. They gave away too much on the inside there.
16-yard gain for TJ Wilson. Brock and Palmer are the backs. Wilson keeps again, and another great run, diving forward for a pickup of 8.
And that's two where they have not really gotten a good hit on the quarterback. Anytime the guy that's called QB carries the ball, you have to put a solid hit on him, and they are not able to do it twice now. But he is going to get tired. You see that? You see that disposition right there? A lot on his shoulders from the first half. First 2 plays of the second half.
105 yards and a touchdown in the state semifinal win against Jones. He's got 83 and a touchdown so far tonight. Keeping it again. Diving forward. Looks like he'll have, will they mark it a first down?
I think they gave him the mark, but I didn't think he got it actually. But that's definitely, with the mark, it's a first down.
They're moving the chains. So 3 plays for Pine Forest, 3 runs. Daryl Palmer, the Jesuit defensive coordinator, trying to find a solution for number 5 right now. Wilson again. Able to slip past Peter Pazanski before running into a crowd of defenders.
I think
first time we've called Troy Bowles' name tonight.
Number 94 has been in the game the last couple plays on defensive line, R.J. McCullough. I think he's lined up in the neutral zone. I'm not sure how many times the referee is going to allow him to line up beyond the ball. At least in my opinion, the ball's right in front of our broadcast booth on the last play. I thought he was beyond the ball. I didn't have a straight-on look on the one before that, but he sure looked to be offsides. This time, let's see, straight down the line. We don't have the same look that I'm looking at. It looks good this time.
Wilson again, breaks it to the outside, puts 2 hands around the football and drags 3 Jesuit defenders inside the 20-yard line. A 21-yard run for TJ Wilson.
One of the more impressive runs we've seen in this tournament. And I'll tell you what, when a running back goes 4 times in a row, especially a tough run like that, they go off to the sideline and the next running back comes in. But when you're the quarterback, that doesn't get to happen. He's going to run out of breath here sometime. At least I think he's going to. Maybe not. Maybe he is the Superman that he looks like.
5 plays on this drive. Wilson has carried it every snap so far. This time it's a straight handoff to Brock, who's stood up by A.J. Cottrell. Able to squirm out of there and get a yard or 2 extra. Brock's helmet comes off, so he'll have to leave the field for a play.
Does Jesuit have an answer to number 5?
It's now 110 yards on the ground for TJ Wilson.
Everything TJ Wilson does is helped by those guys up front, so don't forget those offensive linemen are doing their job for him to be able to get past the line of scrimmage.
Play clock was down close to 0. So timeout is taken by Ronnie Douglas.
Pine Forest, that is their first charge timeout of the half.
Pine Forest back on the big stage for the first time since 2006. They're looking for their 4th title. Jesuit Only other championship was back in 1968. 53 years have passed since that title. And as we told you in the first half, some of the members of that team made the trip down here to Fort Lauderdale to cheer on this year's version of the Tigers. That 2000 championship for Pine Forest, we referenced it earlier, but worth going back to as you see some of the members of that 68 team. Pine Forest played St. Thomas Aquinas in the 2000 state championship game, and they entered that game as a huge underdog. It ultimately went 3 overtimes. Pine Forest recovering an Aquinas fumble to lock up the win and their 3rd title. And it's a small but mighty group that made the trip more than 9 hours from Pensacola to cheer on the Eagles. And they have loved what they've seen so far. A 1-point lead, and Pine Forest looking for more. Wilson keeps. Pazanski got a hold of him from behind. And it will be 3rd down and 5.
Big play upcoming, and you mentioned a small but group that came from Pensacola, but I always find it's a big stadium, and the fan distribution, you can sit anywhere you want on the side, and I just find it a single guy here or a couple of people way off, 20 rows away from anybody else. Just where do you want to watch the ball game from?
This is normally the home of Inter Miami FC. The first time they've ever played football games in this stadium this weekend. On 3rd and 5, Wilson keeps again, got the 1st down, and he's got another touchdown. TJ Wilson putting Pine Forest on his broad shoulders and carrying them here in the title game.
That 5 looks like an S to me. He does look like Superman tonight. Does Jesuit have some kryptonite? Right now, that was an impressive first drive of the 3rd quarter. There it is.
Connor Wright to make it an 8-point game. Good job by Jaydn Girard, the holder. That was a high snap. He was able to get it down for Wright to boot it through. So Pine Forest scores with just a few seconds remaining in the first half. They get the opening possession of the 3rd quarter and right down the field with TJ Wilson.
Well, we were talking about confidence coming out of the locker room, and boy, that touchdown that they put on the board moments before halftime was a confidence booster, and they've decided that 5 is going to lead their way to the promised land, and he's put it up so far. Does a good job holding on to the ball after a pretty good hit. Gets it into the back of the end zone. 7-point lead. They took that 1-point lead before half, and now an 8-pointer.
Again, Pine Forest without Kobe Johnson, who started the night as their leading rusher. At this rate, TJ Wilson, who was 169 yards behind Kobe Johnson, might be their leading rusher for the season by the end of the game.
But when we're down there and we see number 4 in a boot, and we're like, oh, now they're down to their, they don't even have their number 1 rusher. How are you going to go up against the number 10 team in the nation? Well, they're showing us how, and number 5 is their guy.
Vandeross sprints ahead to the 35.
I still feel like there's a lot of explosion left. Number 2 and number 24 specifically. I think there's just some big plays left in those 2 guys. They opened this game and used the sweep action to their receivers and doing that little shuffle pass thing to their receivers and stuff, and just didn't seem like they had their personality going. Let's see what they pick up for the first drive of the 3rd quarter.
Knight on target to Carter French, who works his way upfield for a gain of 8. Raymond Moore was able to get him down.
Make these Pine Forest defensive linemen run a couple times to the sideline and then gash them back up inside.
Jesuit working quickly. Another accurate ball from Knight. This time it's Jarrett Bowie.
Wait till you do that a couple times and watch number 24 hit it to the house. every once in a while you got to make the teams work and defend the entire field. And a number of teams, are able to kind of push around their local opponents. They get to a game like this and they can't do the same things. And every once in a while you just got to change it up and make the defense work.
Knight backpedaling as he throws down the middle. A nice grab by Jaydn Girard. Knight spreading the ball around on this first possession of the third quarter.
I did not see this style of pass coming. Throwing the ball over the middle, I thought this was way too dangerous right now. You don't need that throw on first down especially, but he makes it happen, and his receivers are starting to make things happen as well.
Officials timeout.
So nearly midway through the third, the teams get a water break. Well, as we told you in the first half, this Jesuit team has been close the last several years. 5 times they've gotten to the state semifinals, all 5 times losing to the eventual state champion, most recently American Heritage and Miami Northwestern. In 18, it was Cardinal Gibbons. And one time they didn't get there, they advanced to the region semifinals. But this year, this senior group able to break through and earn the chance to play for a championship.
They are in a dogfight right now. Did not expect Pine Forest to be in the lead in the third quarter, I have to be honest with you. Obviously we've been talking about Jesuits ranking all night long, but Pine Forest has brought a guy that I didn't know, frankly, before him. Well, Pine Forest up in Pensacola doesn't get the publicity, but number 5 has been impressive. Let's see number 9. He's number 6 here.
Tipped up in the air and intercepted. Deontrez McClam with the pick after Tylen Nettles deflected the pass. And Pine Forest defense comes up with a huge play.
So the play before I had just mentioned, I did not expect them to throw the ball in the middle of the field really at all. There's no need on 1st and 10. And this time Luke Knight throws an errant pass, and they're able to get the tip. Surprising that they did not put the ball on the ground one time up to that point on the drive.
3rd pick of the year for Deontrez McClam. Incredible instincts. And those were on display right there. Nettles with the initial deflection. Wasn't much of a rest for TJ Wilson and the Pine Forest offense. Right back at it, and there's Wilson running again, spinning away from a defender. Up to the 34 for a first down gain of 8.
Well, when your free safety has to come from way deep in the backfield to try to make a hit, and he can't do it, you start to question yourself a little bit. DeMarco Palmer coming downhill from the middle of the field. And it's an 8-yard gain. Teams have not been able to run the ball against Jesuit this year.
This Jesuit team only allowing 6.9 points per game. It's the first time this year they've allowed this many points in the playoffs. Only allowed 21 total points in the postseason. And Pine Forest has 22.
A couple great moves by number 5 here. Woodaz gets left behind as he cuts back inside of him.
Jeff, you've talked about playing assignment football and everyone having their certain responsibility for Jesuit. Is there a point at which you just decide to dedicate more bodies to number 5?
Well, they have to. They're going to have to. They can't stop him right now. But the problem is then he's going to pull it out and have a one-on-one, and then their defenders are going to see if they can stop him in the backfield, the defensive backfield, that is. They stop him here in the offensive backfield. And Podansky's asking for some crowd to get involved.
Well, Podansky really epitomizes the blue-collar nature that Matt Thompson wants in this program. Originally from Pennsylvania, moved to Florida in 9th grade from Virginia. Matt Thompson says he's not into any of the flash. He brings a hard hat mentality. His brother was the quarterback on this team a year ago, now playing at Holy Cross.
Yeah, he put up huge numbers offensively, not usually reminiscent of a Jesuit quarterback.
Brother Joe was the 5A Player of the Year last year. Cottrell gets his hands on T.J. Wilson, and the Jesuit crowd starting to come alive.
And that's really what you want to do against a guy like Wilson. He's so big and so strong. You kind of want to hold him up and take extra shots just to wear him down so that he cannot bring the same power to you. Look at his hands on his hips. This kid has been asked so much of him that he is going to be tired, and I don't see how you get to the fourth quarter and keep doing the same things with him. But so far he's been able to stand up and look fantastic. But at some point, every human runs out of gas.
3rd and 11. An early movement will cost the Eagles 5.
Yep, 3rd and 16.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. That's 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Just the 3rd penalty against Pine Forest. It's been a relatively clean game.
Time for Jesuit to make a play and get their defense off the field and try that offense one more time and mix the run and pass a little bit better. They look so good going down the field, and then an errant pass cost them an interception.
Jesuit brings pressure. Wilson steps away, throws down the middle. It's tipped and incomplete. Troy Bowles dropping into coverage, deflected it.
Haven't called Troy Bowles' name a lot tonight. Has 6 tackles for losses and 3 interceptions. Tips that ball. Highly touted junior linebacker.
Rated by 24/7 Sports as the 2nd best junior linebacker in the country. His dad, Todd Bowles, is the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Vandeross made an awesome bounce pickup on a punt and made a great play in the first half with the fair catch here. Secures it at the 33.
For the first time in 3 possessions, Pine Forest is kept out of the end zone, and Jesuit will have it at their own 33. A look at some of the notable recruits on this roster. Bowles at the top of that list in next year's class. Wade Woodaz signing with Clemson. Vandeross headed to play for Toledo in the MAC. Jaydn Girard, a Wake Forest signee, and on the offensive line, Traquan Alexander, the right guard, team captain, signs with Rhode Island. Jesuit back to the ground with Joquez Smith, first carry of the half, and he's cut down for a loss.
Robert Weiner up there at Toledo now, of plant fame and state championship fame from the Tampa area. He's up there at Toledo, and he's got quite a Tampa connection of guys up there now. Vandeross, the most recent.
Toledo runner-up in the MAC this year. Played in the first bowl game of the season a couple days ago, the Bahamas Bowl. Little flinch on the perimeter by Bryson Goodwin will cost Jesuit 5. False start.
Pine Forest in long down yardage moments ago. Jesuit finds themselves in the same situation now.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. That's 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Sixth penalty against Jesuit. Makes it 2nd down and 16. Knight with a good clean pocket as he throws to the outside. It's intercepted. Tyrese Thomas with his 2nd pick of the game.
Luke Knight has had a handful almost of questionable passes. It's cover two. They're playing two safeties, some short corners, and a couple balls where I just don't know where he's throwing it. Tries to get it to Vandeross, but he's not open because they got a safety and a corner over there. They are daring Jesuit to run the ball, and Jesuit doesn't want to run the ball. Surprising in this situation. I know it was long yardage. I understand that. But it was second down. And now they're just tempting him to run the ball, and they won't do it. They get great possession, field of possession here at the 28-yard line.
Wilson handing it off right up the middle. Miguel Brock, the sophomore, breaks away and takes it 28 yards to extend the lead.
A lot of times you'll see a turnover late in the game when the team's behind and they just lose their mojo, and that's what happens right here. They are just chasing. They get beat at the line of scrimmage and just chasing after that in the secondary. Pretty big turn of events.
PAT is up and good, and with 1:57 to go in the third, this is a stunner.
Well, the stunning part for me is that Jesuit's gone to a completely pass-oriented offense. That is just not what has made them an undefeated team and been so highly ranked all season long after beating Aquinas earlier in the season. Hey, 50-50 balance. I understand that they've been playing pretty good defense, but to go exclusively to the pass game and now throw two interceptions, one of the most surprising things I've seen so far.
This is the most points any team has scored against Jesuit this year. Matt Thompson searching for an answer right now. 22 unanswered points scored by Pine Forest. It's Girard from the 15. You can sense these skill players on Jesuit are just really anxious to make a big play. And now they find themselves in a 15-point hole.
Haven't found themselves in this situation in an awfully long time. Let's see what they decide to do, if they're going to settle themselves down by giving Joe Smith the ball again. Talk about toting the rock. They got to give that guy his shots. You do not want to lose a ball game by not giving number 24 the ball enough times. Vandeross at the top of the screen too. They tried to get him the ball through the air. They may have to use him in motion and a little less risky plays getting him the ball.
They fake to Girard, throwing down the middle. There's French making the catch. And he's got a first down at midfield.
Accurate slant pass. Carter French with a couple catches here in the second half.
Man, they call the professor. 1560 SAT score. Same as Jeff Carlson, only French only took the test once.
Thank you for mentioning that. And are you meaning I got to add up two scores? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what I was insinuating.
3, 4 scores?
Not three, just two. Knight standing tall and taking a deep shot. Vandeross over the top makes the catch. And there's the big play Jesuit's been waiting for. A 50-yard strike from Luke Knight to Junior Vandeross.
There's the big play we talked that was still left in the tank for Vandeross. There's still more left from Joe Smith as well. Thought they should go back to the ground, but heck no, we're going over the top. And there he is running past the defenders, and they're right back in this thing.
Pine Forest a little anxious, trying to block that extra point. This will move it half the distance.
And they're down an extra point, right? So at the 1.5, do you go for it?
Prior to the snap, encroachment on the defense at half the distance to the goal and redo the try.
Offense is going to run back out there.
It's late in the third quarter. You know, you talk about chasing points, but that's usually earlier in the game. Late in the third quarter, down by 9, I think you do have to go for it to get yourself back on the number. But if you do miss it, you're a 2-possession ball game still. That's the risk they're taking. Different lineup. They haven't shown this formation.
You got Vandeross lined up at a wingback spot. They flex him out. They'll flip it to him. And Vandeross is not going to get there. Tried to throw it late, but it was Tyrese Thomas that took him down.
Thomas was not confused. He saw it from the very beginning. Here's the touchdown. He stays in the pocket. Had some tough throws. Throws a good slant route first, and then this beautiful ball over the top. They try to use Vandeross again on the end around. But Tyrese Thomas, man, he was not fooled for an instant. Great open field tackle against Vandeross is not the easiest thing to do in the world, that is for certain. But it gave the Tigers some excitement, got their crowd back into it. You know, one of the things about Jesuit that's different, being an all-boys school, they have that 12th man like really nobody else around. They fill the stadium with those guys. The blue tide, you see that tide on a couple of their shirts. They are the blue tide, and whether it's a basketball game or a football game, they support their team and they bring the noise.
Once again, one step forward and everybody comes back. So it's still a 2-possession game, 29-20 now, after the 50-yard touchdown pass. Ferrari angles it to the near side for Thomas. And he is dropped short of the 25.
Cottrell, the linebacker, the tackling machine, races down, and you see what that touchdown did for the energy for the entire team.
How about the poise of Luke Knight, a sophomore who's thrown 5 interceptions the entire year for Jesuit. He throws 3 in the state championship game, the team facing their largest deficit of the year, and he comes off and throws 2 perfect balls, the one down the middle to French and then the touchdown pass.
He sure did, and I have to remember that he's a sophomore. But some of those throws were bad, but they haven't really put the team on his shoulders like they have tonight and asked this much of him. But what a beautiful couple throws to put the ball back in the end zone.
Wilson fakes the pitch, and seemingly all 11 hats around the ball for Jesuit after a 2-yard gain as we're under a minute to go here in the third.
Well, my just feeling, the gut feeling is you cannot beat Jesuit with one player. And Wilson has thrown the ball beautifully to some other players to get them involved, but for the most part it's been Wilson on the ground getting it done. And I don't think that he can do that for the entire game, and really it has been all 3 quarters. Like I said, he's thrown some good passes, but I don't think those guys up front, especially the front 7, are going to be beat that way. Now they're giving up that big middle look again. They beat it big time a couple series ago. They came straight down the middle.
Wilson keeps. Pazanski wraps him up. No gain as the third quarter comes to a close.
That's really what they needed, was that second down stop to make it a 3rd and long.
12 minutes remains in the high school football season. And big underdog Pine Forest heads to the 4th with a 29-20 lead on Jesuit. Catch our breath and come back for the final 12 minutes. We head to the fourth here in Fort Lauderdale. Austin Lyon, Jeff Carlson, our entire Spectrum Sports crew. Pine Forest trying to win its first state championship since 2000. Came in as a big underdog, but they have gotten a memorable night from TJ Wilson, their junior quarterback. He's rushed for 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's thrown for another TD. And now it's a question of whether or not the Eagles can get it across the finish line against nationally ranked Jesuit.
Well, as just a football fan, if you're not, we're unbiased. We couldn't ask for much more for our grand finale on Saturday night. Jesuit faithful cheering their guys on for 3rd and long.
Wilson 6 of 16 passing. Good protection by the offensive line on the run. It's well short of Donnell Hayes. And Pine Forest goes 3 and out after the Jesuit touchdown.
Yeah, that was not going to look good regardless. It's actually a good thing he threw it into the ground. But this gives Vandeross another chance to make a big play. Had the long touchdown catch. Had a couple good plays on punts already.
The last couple punts by Connor Wright haven't been long, but they've been high, allowing his coverage team to get down and forcing Vandeross into a fair catch. This is a booming kick. Vandeross on the run at the 35. They hem him in along the sideline, and he gets about 6 on the return.
Great punt. Great punt. Really stopped him from being able to turn that thing back around. Normally you'd say that's a returnable ball, but he was so close to the sideline. So give Connor Wright a lot of credit for not only getting a good kickoff, but the direction was great as well.
Sophomore Luke Knight, 12 of 19 for 206 yards. The touchdown on the last possession and 3 interceptions. Vandeross in motion. It's Smith on the run. Finding a hole, Smith breaks free. And he's finally dragged down inside the 30.
Austin, I don't know if that's his first carry of the second half or second, but I cannot believe that's his second carry, but I cannot even believe that it's only his second carry of the half. But I said number 2 was going to have a big play, number 4 and 24, excuse me. And there's one of them. He's an instant playmaker. Needs more opportunities in the second half. This is where those types of guys, the big running back for the Tennessee Titans, a guy like this, Vandeross.
Cuts it upfield. Vandeross with another cut, and he's in. Second touchdown of the night for junior Vandeross. And in an instant, Jesuit is right back in it.
The explosive plays are just, you just can't hold them back. That's why I'm able to say that beforehand. You just know you got to give them that open space, and these guys will make plays. Pine Forest, do they have enough left in the tank to hang with the Jesuit Tigers? Jesuit still down 3 points.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still try for point only.
The Jesuit scores twice in 1 minute and 56 seconds. And the PAT from Ferrari makes it a 2-point game.
Look at this guy go. Just has all the moves. We just talked about him going to Toledo. Toledo is a lucky team to land that guy. Just a little flat route. Looked kind of awkward with Smith standing out there with him. But Knight finds him, and then he does the rest on his own.
Lamartez Odom stops playing for some reason. He's really close to Vandeross. It looks like they're going to turn him back inside, and Odoms is going to be right there to make the tackle. He just stopped. The Jesuit comes off the deck. They've scored the last 13.
Wow. What a game. That just opened this fourth quarter. Does TJ Wilson have enough? Do the Pine Forest Eagles have enough to hold on?
Hayes once again back on the return, and there goes Donnell Hayes. He's got the kicker Ferrari back. Hayes beats him. Taken down at the 5. Had a kick return for a touchdown, wiped away by a penalty, and then he wasn't back for a couple of kickoffs. They reinsert him, and he delivers a bolt of lightning. An 86-yard return.
Vandeross on one side, Hayes on the other. They're making this a two-man game. Wow, I did not expect this kind of shootout from these two teams. You talk about an option team, a little bit, and you talk about a ground attack for Jesuit, and all of a sudden we just have fireworks.
Andre Gilbert made the touchdown-saving tackle for Jesuit. That may loom large if Pine Forest can't punch it in. From the 5, Wilson really didn't even bluff the handoff that time. His progress stopped at the 2. It looked like he was going to give it, and then said, "No, I'm not even doing that. I'm just running straight ahead."
But that's the game, and that's what you're supposed to do is try to make that team take that fullback thing, then go behind it. But Jesuit normally does it well. We're assignment football. There's a man assigned to the quarterback. He's got to stick with him. But so far through 3+ quarters, Wilson's been the better of it.
Wilson off the right side, gets it down to the 1. Woodaz came off the edge. And so it's 3rd and goal.
They have been challenged.
Wilson stood up, driving forward, and taken down. It will be 4th and goal.
And a no-brainer, right? There's not even a hesitation, is there, in anybody's mind? 3 points only gives you a 5-point lead, so there's nothing to think you would kick the ball.
They gave him a really good spot. They've put the ball down at about the half-yard line. I think Wilson came close to getting that point, but that's where they put it down.
Same play coming at you again. I don't see why they would pick any other play.
Wilson to the right, and he didn't get there.
Wow.
The Jesuit defense holds on the goal line. The Eagles are turned away.
Was it Cottrell that knifed in there? They got to his feet. It probably was a linebacker. Let's see who knifes underneath. 45 Quinn is the guy. Wayne Quinn, the senior, turns his shoulders, gets underneath there, just enough to get his feet stopped. Wow, what a stand.
So 2 things to point out. 1, how big is the tackle by Andre Gilbert on the kick return?
Oh, my goodness.
And 2, I'm surprised that Pine Forest didn't put Wilson under center. They were so close. You mentioned you can have the backs push him in, and the interior of the offensive line gave enough of a push.
I was not thinking of that, but that's exactly what they should have done. They should have done it probably for the 2 downs, 3rd and 4th down if they needed it.
So now from the 1, Smith plunges forward, and he takes the ball out to the 2. Yet another time, player loses a helmet. It comes off for Joquez Smith, and he'll have to head to the sideline.
What a stop.
There's
Ball's
Quinn.
at the 5-yard line.
Quinn, the linebacker who was able to get T.J. Wilson on the ground.
All the momentum to
Officials
Jesuit.
timeout.
Donnell Hayes answers with a huge return, and then the defense stands up at the half-yard line.
Injured player for Pine Forest is Elijah Douglas, 265-pound sophomore defensive tackle. He is grimacing in pain over on that Pine Forest sideline. This is not an Eagles team with a lot of depth. Their top 22 are really good. You get to some of the second string guys, especially on this defense, and there's a significant drop-off. 2nd down and 9. Smith not out there.
Yeah, they brought in Ian Wilson.
So the freshman who had no carries in the state semifinals gets a touch with his team just outside the shadow of their own end zone.
Must have had an equipment malfunction or something to
Smith's
get him off
helmet
the field.
came off.
Yeah.
So 3rd down and 9 for Jesuit.
Big opportunity for Pine Forest to stop him and get the ball back with great field position.
Knight pulls it away from Smith and throws on the money. 1st down and a sure-handed grab. Liam Conroy, just his 6th catch of the year.
Yeah, who? Conroy. What a catch. What a time to do it. Great job. The senior making an important play.
Sideline warning against Jesuit. That's their first one of the game.
What a pickup. What an important pickup for Jesuit.
Went from potentially having to punt from their own end zone to a fresh set of downs. Ball marked at the 12. Vandeross motions across the formation as Knight fires. A juggling catch made by French. 3rd grab for the sure-handed senior.
Yeah, I did not expect French to really be the guy that was targeted on so many balls, but he's doing a great job and does a really good job pulling that in and taking the big hit. Here comes Liam Conroy getting some more time. Well-deserved time after that big catch.
French had 3 catches in the 4 playoff games coming into tonight. He's got 3 grabs in the title game. That's a pop pass to Jaydn Girard, able to get around the edge. Girard up to the 36, and 3 consecutive plays have resulted in 1st downs for the Tigers.
Open the game up with this kind of a look, trying to sweep outside. Not as successful in the first half as it is right there. Picking up the 1st down once again.
Knight's hit on his last 3 passes. Quick throw, and it's intercepted. Tyrese Thomas fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Pine Forest. The 3rd pick of the game for Tyrese Thomas.
Good one coming off the ground, acting like he had the ball. Didn't see the recovery itself, but I certainly saw big number 6 get there. Tyrese Thomas stepped in front way early, I thought it was early enough for Goodwin for Knight to see it. Look at that. No block by Goodwin. Yeah, well, actually, he did not secure that ball on the ground. Goodwin should have been credited with that recovery, I think. Remember that touchdown we had earlier today in the end zone where gave him instant credit for recovery on an interception here on the ground. I thought Goodwin actually got that.
We could take another look.
What a turnover.
I disagree with you. I thought DeQuan Johnson got back on it.
Okay. Love to see it in full speed.
There's Miguel Brock. Straight ahead run down to the 20. So many wild swings in this game. Get the sense that Jesuits' offense is completely in rhythm, and Tyrese Thomas.
Let's look at the fumble and the recovery. Does 11 secure that ball?
I think he's got it, and then it gets poked away.
He stepped back. Well, he's already on his knees, and he's on his stomach with security as he backs up. You're right. You are right. And the referees were right. They thought they were throwing a very conservative, easy to complete pass, and Tyrese Thomas steps in front of it. What a great play.
Wilson keeps. Wood as the first to make contact, but he keeps going forward, and that's what we've seen all night from TJ Wilson. This kid is a warrior.
I haven't seen too many more individual performances that I've been more impressed by.
Pine Forest has run 56 plays tonight. Wilson has run it on 30 of them. He's also thrown 17 passes.
And one of the best passes for the touchdown on the sideline in the first half.
Third and 2, Wilson keeps. First down, and he lowers his head to take it inside the 10. First and goal for Pine Forest.
Nobody had the quarterback. They just didn't have anybody that was supposed to come up. And I didn't see, one of the linebackers had to have gotten tripped up beforehand. But
officials timeout.
Right there, Quinn goes for the up back, and nobody had the quarterback.
Fourth quarter water break comes with 5:11 remaining.
Well, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this through the streaming app, you are being treated to a great football game.
This has been awesome. We started the weekend with a great game between Cocoa and Cardinal Gibbons. That one right down to the wire, 21-19. And then we had 3 blowout wins. Venice earlier today, St. Thomas Aquinas last night, Miami Central yesterday afternoon. But this game has exceeded all expectations. Had unexpected stars. TJ Wilson with the game of his career. Tyrese Thomas, 2 interceptions the entire season. He's picked off 3 passes in this championship game.
And when we looked at this team, you look over, there's only a few guys left on the sideline on Pine Forest. They just didn't come here with a big roster, but boy, they have done their thing with the few guys that they have.
Wilson again keeping, stood up by Woodaz, and he's driven down right at the line.
Woodaz has been the pitch man all night long. He fakes the pitch, keeps it. Woodaz squares him up and puts him on his back. Watch this. He fakes the pitch. Woodaz doesn't take it, squares him up.
Well, if Wilson pitches it, might be a touchdown for Pine Forest. I just don't know if he's going to give it up.
No, he will not tonight. He won't risk it.
Wilson keeps, straight ahead run. Offensive line pushes the pile down to the 5, and here we are again. Jesuit was just able to hold Pine Forest out of the end zone on 4 downs from the 5. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 5.
It is from the 5. So, but to your point before, that was right about the push. This is too far away. I think you're going to roll him out And there's the guy, number 14, who's made all the big plays tonight for Pine Forest. They're sending him in from the sideline with the play call. That's old school, right? You tell your receivers go into the huddle with the play call, tell your quarterback what the play is. Haven't seen that in a long time. I think he said, throw it to me.
Play clock was running out, so Pine Forest burns their second timeout, stopping the clock with 3:32 to go.
Timeout. Pine Forest has their second charge timeout of the half.
Pine Forest, a powerhouse program back in the 80s. They stunned St. Thomas Aquinas for a title back in 2000, trying to win a championship in their first title game appearance since 2006. Jesuit last won a championship back in 1968, a program that has lost in the state semifinals the last 3 years, 5 of the last 6. They finally get to play on the state's biggest stage. They entered the game as a heavy favorite and right now find themselves trailing by 2, and their defense has their back to the goal line.
Yes, they do, and Pine Forest has 2 plays. Again, you're not going to kick the ball for a 5-point lead. So this is 4-down territory. They're going to go for it twice from the 5. At least that would be my guess. I think you're going to roll your big quarterback out and throw it to number 14. Take that challenge. It's a 6-foot guy versus a 5'9" guy. I think you throw it up high and let him go make a play for you.
Wilson, little pop pass, and it's intercepted. Hayes Greep with the pick, and he's out of the end zone back to the 9-yard line. Another unheralded player in this game makes a game-changing play.
Hayes Greep, we talked about him earlier. They tried to throw deep on him. He knocked it away. They try the trick play, almost like the jump pass, little pop pass to your tight end. And he steps right in front of it. Another nail right there at the goal line. 2 stops by the defense, but the offense still has to come through and go the length of the field with 3:23 left.
What a game.
Empty backfield. You don't see this from Jesuit very often either. Plenty of time left on the clock.
Luke Knight has thrown 4 interceptions tonight, but he's got a chance to lead a game-winning drive. Tucks it and runs. Jaquan Frank drops him after a 1-yard gain.
There is plenty of time on the clock. They do not need to run go routes by everybody. You got to give that quarterback an underneath breaking route, whether it's your outside guy coming in, send the other 2 guys deep, bring your outside guy coming across, but you got to give him something underneath to dump the ball off.
Knight finds Girard. Girard up the far sideline. Jaydn Girard pushed out of bounds just outside the 10-yard line.
Wow, this was dangerous. What a great little pass. We were talking about the shorter routes, the guys cutting underneath. Luke Knight moves in the pocket. Look at him, moves in the pocket, turns his shoulders, just dumps it off and finds the guys going the opposite way. And Carter French trying to help the block behind him. What a football game.
It's a 78-yard catch and run by Girard and a flag at the end of the play. That tackle was out of bounds, excessive contact, so this is going to be against Pine Forest. It'll move the ball down to the 6.
Wow. And you know Pine Forest was tired before that play. And that just might have been the one that put them over the top.
Sideline warning against Pine Forest. That is their second one in the game. That's a 5-yard penalty. It'll be a first down.
Well, somehow the flag is not on Raymond Moore, but the penalty results in about the same thing.
If the referee gets hindered by one of the coaches that are by the sideline, after that they've been warned once, and they give them a penalty after that. What a play, though. Now they have to think about managing this last 2:33 on the clock. You do not want to give Pine Forest that much time, because a field goal wins the game. You don't have to score a touchdown.
Knight hands to Smith. Hit in the backfield. He's able to get away for a gain of about 1.5 yards.
Pine Forest had to use their timeouts. Remember, there was a third down, a crucial third down. They used a timeout. They used one pretty early in the third quarter, if my memory serves as well. So they're only down to one timeout left. They don't need to save it for offense. They're going to need to take it before that. But boy, do they have the firepower offensively through the air to beat Jesuit.
Tigers allowing the play clock to run down. It's now at 10.
Question is, do you take the timeout if you stop them here?
It's Smith. Dropped at the 7. We'll wait to see when the play clock starts.
Either way, whether you took it on second down or you take it on third down, either way, it is going to be all the way down. And they're going to try to kick a field goal to win this game by 1.
There's a 39-second difference between the play clock and the game clock. So Jesuit has to snap it with 39 seconds left in the game. Third down and goal with the ball at the 7. Knight fakes it. Throws into the end zone. He's got Girard for the touchdown, and Jesuit has taken the lead.
Austin, you remember before the game when I told you it was going to be 34-29? Jesuit was going to score with about 37 seconds left in the game. Boy, I don't know who saw this coming, but what a treat. That's a pretty big smile.
Timeout, Jesuit. That's
Jesuit
your first
calls
timeout.
They will go for 2 to try to make it a 6-point game. A 5-point lead doesn't do you any good.
I did not think Jaydn Girard was going to be the name that was going to be the guy that made so many big plays tonight. Great call, too. Risky. I don't think I would have done it. I think I would have given it to Joe Smith and kicked a field goal if he wasn't able to find his way into the end zone, because look at that. What if it got tipped? What if it was behind him? It was behind him. He made a good catch. 37 seconds left for Pine Forest and their Superman, TJ Wilson, tonight.
Girard playing his final high school game. The 78-yard catch and run to get Jesuit down in close. And then on 3rd and goal, he makes the biggest catch of his career and potentially etches his name into Jesuit history.
You don't think they're going to kick the ball deep to Donnell Hayes, do you?
I was thinking that was Pine Forest's best way to score. Smith easily gets in for 2. And it's 35-29 with 37 seconds to go.
I think Hayes is their best option to score, but I always believe you don't let your team be beaten by their superstars. You do whatever you can to keep it out of the hands of the superstars, because you know why? They're superstars for a reason. When you know they're a superstar, you keep it out of their hands, and Donnell Hayes has proved to be that guy for Pine Forest tonight. So you kick it to somebody else. You do not let that star be the one that beats you. But now you need a touchdown to win the game.
Luke Knight. 4 interceptions he's thrown tonight. But he has summoned a tremendous amount of fortitude. Throws potentially the game-winning touchdown pass to deliver Jesuit their second title. But there's still 37 seconds left. Hayes and Tyrese Thomas are waiting on the kickoff from Jack Ferrari. Hayes had a touchdown called back by penalty, returned another one down to the 5. And Ferrari kicks it out of bounds, and if I'm Pine Forest, I'm making him kick it again.
I would agree with you. I mean, the 35 is a good place to start, but I would make him kick it again just to try to give yourself a return. You never know.
There's no way I'm letting my offense take the field at the 35. You're going to have to kick it to Hayes.
No, not with how tired they are. If they have that choice.
Kick out of bounds by the kicking team. The ball will be placed on the 35-yard line. First down.
Yeah, we saw it earlier in another game where they declined the penalty and moved it back 5 yards and made them re-kick it. In that case, it didn't work in their favor, but in this situation, I would make them kick it again.
Wilson's got a big arm, and Pine Forest has one timeout.
Well, they don't have enough guys to the top of the screen. They need to back up.
Wilson lets it rip down the middle, and it's intercepted. A.J. Cottrell with the pick, and he secures the state title for Jesuit.
This turns into Wilson's worst pass of the night. Maybe he doesn't get hit, but he got enough. They didn't even have enough defenders back there, actually, to defend that properly, and they get the interception. You saw the ball was in a spiral. He did get hindered as he tried to throw that ball, but what a comeback. Pine Forest looked like they had all the momentum and the lead, and Jesuit mounts the comeback. Stars on both sides of the ball. Austin for Jesuit.
Down by 15. With 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, Jesuit scores the final 19 points. And they come back to win it in thrilling fashion.
Some known heroes and some not so well known heroes. Junior Vandeross making huge plays. Jaydn Girard with the big plays, but Carter French.
Timeout. Pine Forest, that is your last charge timeout of the half.
Carter French had a number of catches in this second half, but A.J. Cottrell, Wayne Quinn. Wow. Wade Woodaz making a big stop late down there on the 5-yard line.
And you're forgetting a guy who might be the most important on defense,
I'm not.
Andre Gilbert.
Wait a minute, Andre Gilbert. What about Hayes Greep?
Andre Gilbert tackled
you're
Hayes
right.
on what would have been a touchdown.
You're absolutely right. That was one of the plays, and Hayes Greep with 2 massive plays.
That's it. What a game, and what a way to end the 2021 season.
I have always respected Matt Thompson for the last 25 plus years that I have watched him coach, both as a defensive coordinator and as a head coach. I'm very happy for that man and for his staff, for these guys as well. But Pine Forest, what a challenge they put up. All congratulations to that team and that coaching staff as well.
Now Pine Forest makes the 650-mile trip, and T.J. Wilson, his performance was good enough to win, but the Jesuit defense rises up in the closing stages of the game. They held him out of the end zone on 4 plays from the 5. Greep with the interception on 3rd and goal. It was 29-14 Jesuit ends up scoring 21 unanswered.
TJ Wilson, his hands are in his face, but too much was put on his shoulders tonight, but he almost pulled it off. All congratulations to TJ Wilson, the junior quarterback from Pine Forest. They really put up a good fight. Look at Luke Knight, just a sophomore quarterback, but leadership, skills, and goes over to try to console some guys, showing some compassion for what these guys put themselves through just now.
Those are great images, the shows of sportsmanship from the Jesuit players. You get a sense of just how much it means when you lay it all out there.
Not since 1968. These Jesuit Tigers have been able to bring home the title.
5 state semifinal losses in the last 6 years. And Jesuit makes the most of their opportunity on the state's biggest stage against a Pine Forest team that proved more than worthy. What a game. Just an incredible battle between these teams.
You know, thank you to both squads.
Yeah.
Because that was awesome. That's why football is better than any other sport in the world. Honestly, it takes so many to win a championship.
I want to take a moment as the teams get set to receive their trophies to spotlight our fantastic crew who've worked so hard over the last couple of weeks to bring you all these fantastic games. On camera, we've got Randy Levine, Ken O'Leary, Tony Tharp, Tyler Smith, and Clee Ely. Zach Forrestel punching things for us down in the truck. Chris McCulley, our producer. James Austin, who handles everything in the truck. That crew's done a great job the last 2 weeks. Always so much fun for us to be here. You and I get the easy job of just talking about these great young men and the storylines of the teams. And this game, the best championship game I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you so much. It's not easy to win a state championship. It's not easy to produce 5 football games back-to-back in 3 days. But, man, it does. It takes the families that support these football players, the coaching staffs, the support staff. It takes so much. And to see it come down like that, what a treat.
And you can speak more to this. You played in college, played in the NFL, but I often hear pro athletes say that the memories they have that are the fondest are of moments like this, remembering when they were out there on the field with their high school brothers and they competed for a state championship, and for Jesuit, a night they'll never forget.
Yeah, because it's really what you build up to for more of your life than any other thing. Yes, you remember college because it's bigger and it's more recent. In the NFL, it's that dream come true for you as an individual. This is the community. This is the group you're with for such a long period of time. Absolutely. Some guys that'll never play football ever again. Most of them will never play football ever again. This is what their memory is. Sometimes it's tragedy. Sometimes it's elation.
650 miles Pine Forest came from Pensacola to play for a state championship, and they left everything out on the field. Wasn't enough against a Jesuit squad that is top 10 in the country. And they showed a resiliency that they haven't shown the entire year. Trailing by 14, they come all the way back to win it. Matt Thompson got Jesuit to the championship game, and they win it for the first time in 53 years. What a game, and what a night here in Fort Lauderdale. For Jeff Carlson and our entire Spectrum Sports crew, thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday night with us. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Austin Lyons saying so long from DRV PNK Stadium. Congratulations to the Jesuit Tigers, 2021 Class 6A state champs.
The Jesuit Tigers 35, the Pine Forest Eagles 29. Good night.